And we're joined by Tom McCauley, who you might know from UBC, president of the student union out there.
Years ago.
You've got some ideas to kind of shake up the way we run council a little bit, some reforms. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so really, I've on my website you can learn more about these issues, but I'm proposing some reforms for City Council. Number one, reestablishing a committee system where we have focused groups that include experts, members of council, and also staff members from the City of Kelowna that really will look directly at certain issues. So, for instance, an arts and culture task force or council or committee, transportation, infrastructure committee. And then a committee maybe that deals specifically with rentals and housing, just to come up with some more solutions, some active solutions on how to solve these problems.
We had this years ago and it kind of got phased out.
Yeah, and the reason why, from what I understand, was that they said, well, you know, they would delegate something to committees and then they would just go off into the abyss and nothing would get done. But really, what we want to do is create a committee system where the ideas are originating from them, and then they're going to council for approval to say this is something that we want to do or not something we want to do. Another item for reform that I want to pursue is getting a referendum on the next election for setting term limits for city councilors. So this would be, you know, it could be 2 or 3 terms at a time that a city councilor can serve, you know, limiting to maybe 12 years at a time. And this is really just to bring some more fresh voices and then, you know, make the elections a little bit more competitive when it comes to incumbency.
Right. This example, or this election being an example, we know for certain that one of the incumbents won't be running. So it doesn't leave a lot of opportunity for newcomers because incumbent councillors do tend to get, you know, a lot of odd votes here and there that someone who's coming out of the wilderness doesn't get.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most people, including myself, I mean, in years past, you go into the election booth and you're voting for 1 or 2 people that you really identify with. But then the rest, you're kind of filling in those top 8 boxes with the names that you recognize the most. I think doing this would force everybody to, you know, come up with some more new ideas, really fight for re-election for those times, and then also, you know, force some new voices to come into the conversation at City Council.
You also mentioned award system.
That's right. Yeah. So award system, I thought Kelowna could look at something kind of like what they have in Lake Country, which would be a hybrid award system. You know, where we have you know, maybe 3 or 4 at-large councillors that everybody votes for, but then we also would have, you know, for Glenmore, you'd have a race for that neighborhood, or for Rutland, where they could vote for their representative. And I think it would focus those councillors on the issues for those neighborhoods, and to make sure that the problems that are happening in your neighborhood, you have a voice specifically for them.
Right. Another issue you brought up prior to our conversation just now was search and rescue. Their location doesn't seem to sit well with you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I went and visited the guys at Search and Rescue a couple weeks ago, and it's terrible. I mean, like, the building was deemed not fit for a fire department, and their bathroom is their file cabinet, essentially. They also have no clean drinking water on site. The building is sweltering inside, and these are the people that we depend on every year to be saving people who get themselves into trouble during the, you know, all seasons of the year. They save every level of government millions of dollars in just their volunteer work. There's 60 really dedicated volunteers who make that operation run. And I think the City of Kelowna needs to take the lead on making sure that they have a proper space where they can expand operations and make them more effective.
Right. You're 30 years old?
Yeah.
Would you say that this council could use a little youth?
I think so. And it's not so much totally about the youth aspect of it. It's about just a different phase of life. Like, I've got a 2-year-old son, and I feel like I look at the issues of our city a little differently than someone who's maybe in the retirement phase, or, you know, they've been doing business for decades and don't have any small kids. And really, I think that there's some really needed services in our neighborhoods that a lot of parents like myself would want to see happen. And I think that younger perspective would be really fresh and be helpful on council.
Well, best of luck, and thanks for telling us about your campaign.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.
Thank you.